Well, perhaps you have a friend or family member that is one of the 5.3 million people in our country diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. As this disease progresses, it robs its victims of their ability to remember and reason. But what causes Alzheimer's, and then what's being done to stop its progression? Well, joining us now is Dr. Dana Jennings from the Institute of Neurodegenerative Disorders, along with Nick Yanosi. Did I get the last name right? Yanosi. See, I tried earlier. Research participant diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and his beautiful wife, Cheryl. Thank you both so much for being here. Dr. Jennings, always a pleasure. I'm going to start with you. I want to talk a little bit about what we know about Alzheimer's disease.
Well, we're still learning a lot about Alzheimer's. One of the things that we've learned really in the last several years is what's going on in the brain in people with Alzheimer's disease, what the changes are in the brain. Specifically, it looks like that there's a couple proteins that get deposited in the brain and sort of block some of the messages between the cells. So the protein that is actually deposited in the brain is called amyloid, and we're going to take a look hopefully at some pictures of the amyloid in the brain.
Yeah, you know what, let's do that, because there is a difference between a healthy brain, one not affected, but then the one that is affected by Alzheimer's, and you brought the pictures, so we'll put those on the screen. Can you show us what we're looking at here, doctor?
So on the left-hand side is a picture of a brain of somebody with Alzheimer's disease, and on the right-hand side is a healthy brain. And you can see the bright yellow and bright red in that picture of the Alzheimer brain. And that's really the ligand binds to amyloid in the brain. So that's amyloid lighting up in the brain. So this is the protein that seems to be causing some of the problem, at least, in people with Alzheimer's disease.
Well, the IND has experimental therapies, right? Who are they aimed at?
So mostly the therapies are aimed at people that have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And clearly if the therapies are going to work, they're going to work early in the disease. So our idea is that if you can get a scan that shows or proves that you actually have some sort of amyloid in the brain, then ideally the medications that are being developed are to eliminate or to decrease the amount of amyloid or that protein getting deposited in the brain. So it's a really exciting time.
Volunteers, I know, are really crucial.
Absolutely critical, yes.
And what should volunteers know? People who are interested in volunteering, what are some of the perks for them, and what does that really mean in the long term?
I think one thing that I think people don't really realize is that there are lots of options in terms of research. I mean, options for imaging to make sure that it's the right diagnosis, and options for treatment, so really on both ends. And it is volunteering, and every time that somebody volunteers, it's always their choice whether they want to participate or not participate. But in fact, I think this is sort of the cutting edge of treatment. So
this is the time to kind of step up and pay it forward.
Step up, right.
Cheryl and Nick, let's bring you both in, a husband and wife team over here.
Thank you.
And Cheryl, I'd like to talk with you first and just maybe ask you, what was it about the research that made you want to participate?
Well, learning a diagnosis of Alzheimer's is really kind of difficult to take, but we felt strongly that there were two options. We could sit at home and let Alzheimer's really dictate our lives, or we could make a choice to become participants where we could really make a difference. And we found out about IND, and we are just absolutely thrilled to be there.
So the experience for you has been really positive. I mean, emotional, I'm sure, at the same time.
Very much so, but from the minute we've walked in, and every person that we've dealt with at IND, everybody's really on the same page. Let's really, really make a difference. And every time we go there for a research appointment, I really strongly believe that hopefully every day we're getting closer, and maybe it will make others' journey easier, or ultimately it might become a path that no one else will have to take.
I can only imagine. Nick, for you, you're her husband, and it's affected you. How has it been for you?
Oh, it's a roller coaster. It really is. It's hard for me. I want to be, just...
it's just rough, I can imagine.
Rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What gets the two of you through it?
Oh.
Cheryl?
Each other.
Yeah, having each other.
Thank
you. And I know that knowing that you're doing this, Nick, you have to know you are making it easier for somebody else.
Yes.
And you should be proud of that.
I'm thankful for that.
Now let's talk with you, Dr. Jennings, if we can. What medications are being introduced right now to reduce the progression of it?
Right, so there are at least a couple medications that are in phase 3 trials, which means that they're in humans and they've passed all the safety, not all the safety tests, but the large proportion of safety tests. And we're just seeing if they actually can reduce the amount of amyloid or that protein that gets deposited in the brain in people with Alzheimer's disease. Very promising. It's
What's
very
the
promising.
message, Dr. Jennings, for people who are watching this segment today and meet Cheryl and meet Nick and listen to you? What do we want people to really know?
I think it's a different era in Alzheimer's. I mean, I think in the past we've, sort of like people get the diagnosis and then just wait and watch and see what happens. But we're in a different place now. I mean, people have to really identify changes early because the medications can make a big difference early in the disease, and seek help as early in the process as possible. And I think that's where the hope really lies.
Well, thank you so very much. And I want you to know something, Cheryl and Nick, and I mean this. I thank you for coming on television and sharing your story with our viewers, because sometimes we just need a face and we need to know and see that people are real and it's a real disease. And because of you, you're going to bless somebody today. Is there anything else you want to add, Cheryl or Nick?
I just would like to say thank you for this opportunity, because we feel the same way, that the more people that understand that there are options out there, it just, you can get some help and you can help make it better for other people.
Nick, you're a lucky man. 40 years, but nobody's counting. All right, if you or someone you know is suffering from Alzheimer's disease, we want you to call the number that's on your screen. That's 1-800-401-6067. For more information about I&D research, again, it's all there for you. If you missed that, you can come to our website, WTNH.com, click on Connecticut Style, and we'll take care of you. Dr. Jennings, Nick, and Cheryl, thank you all so much for being here. Listen, we're going to have more Connecticut Style coming up in just a minute. We're making beef brisket when Connecticut Style returns. I want a hug. Give me a hug.